Heather Hogan is our next artist. Heather uses art to escape and find flow through meditative mark making and juxtaposing various media. By day, she teaches web design at City College and is the marketing and outreach coordinator at Sierra 2 Center. Welcome, Heather. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing okay. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you fine.
My fancy new headset.
Nice, nice. So let's just jump right in, and why don't you tell me a little bit about your current body of work?
It's a hot mess right now. It's been really hard. I have two school-age kids, so homeschooling, and I also teach at Sac City. I saw Joya on earlier. So actually, I put a few things to kind of show off. I'm just throwing everything out there. So we did a kitchen remodel right before quarantine hit, and I had all of this leftover wood. So I started painting on little wood blocks just to try things out. And so that's one thing. I have this, you can kind of see behind me. This is my office studio. I do a lot of really colorful abstract stuff. So I've been kind of mixing things up. And my mom, as most people are doing in the quarantine, they're digitizing photos. Both my mom and my in-laws have been doing it. So they gave me a bunch of stuff from my grandpa's extensive archives. So I've been playing with that, just trying to come up to the studio whenever I can.
So between homeschooling
and yeah, I'm on video chats a lot, giving feedback to students and recording lectures, and then on my kids' Zoom school stuff. So I don't have a cohesive body. I've been doing a lot with cups because they're everywhere. So it's been fun, and because there's your home and happy hours whenever you say it is. So that's been kind of a fun thing to meditate on, maybe. Just adding some more actual things to my work because a lot of it's really abstract. So I have a number of kind of series. We'll see which one sticks.
so can you talk about your process?
Sure. I like, if I hear of a new art process, I immediately want to give it a try. Hence the ridiculous amount of art supplies in my studio and my closet. So my process is layers. I guess if I had to put it into one word, I like to put a layer on and see how that works, and then do another layer. And I've kind of just, that's kind of what this was last night. I was putting some gouache over the whole, just to like mute it out a little bit to see, make it not look like such a collage, because I want to put another layer on top of this. So that's a lot of my process. I briefly tried embroidering the piece, so you can see the back. I was like, what if I do paint and markers and crayons and then add string? What would happen there? I took some really great classes from Linda Clark Johnson, who does cyanotype. So this is when I was big into that, when it wasn't hot as hell outside. I'm really into old kitchen gadgets. So process is layers. So kind of whatever, I usually do a background and then do some detail and then detail on top of that. And I'm gonna try and do some more, I do a lot of printing, relief printing. I'm holding up tiny little carved, I taught a class on how to do this. That was really fun at CR2. So this is lino block, and I'm hoping I can carve this and then stick it on top of like that collage one. So it's kind of a crazy inventor studio going on in here. So that's my process. Throw it at the piece and see what sticks.
So you touched on, due to COVID, your homeschooling. That probably takes a chunk of your time out of your day that might have gone to your work. Mm-hmm. So two-part question: how's your practice changed because of COVID, and how do you keep motivated? How do you get yourself up to your studio when you have all these other things going on?
When the screaming starts, I run away. I don't have a door to lock. I just kind of hide up here. It's actually, I've been working kind of two part-time jobs and doing some freelance. I do web design for the money. So the amount of time I've spent up here has actually gone down because yeah, it's been hard to motivate. It's been really kind of depressing to be stuck at home. And I had probably the most art shows I've ever had lined up was this year. And I was really excited entering 2020, and then everything fell apart and things got canceled. So um, after feeling kind of sad, I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna get out my tiny sketchbook and start making little marks and see how that feels. And I felt better. And then I kept doing more. And so my MO is usually put the kids to bed around 9 and then come upstairs, and that's my time to work. So that's my protected art time is about 9 to 11 or 12 every night. And that's what I try to stick to that schedule. So
So you just alluded to the meditative mark making.
yeah.
Is that in response to COVID, or is that something you've always done just to get the flow going?
I've kind of always done that. Yeah, just especially well, I did go to art school and they were always like, what does it mean? And what are you trying to say? And I'm like, I don't know, it's just pretty. Like I just want to make. So I really when I'm feeling that pressure of like, "Oh, I really need to do something or make a statement, I'll just start just making these marks. I make a lot of the same kind of shape, this kind of swoopy shape, and I just always doodled that. It started doodling in class, right? Um, while I'm taking notes, I like to draw a lot of pictures, and so uh, that just helps me get into the flow and feel better. It really does make me feel better. So I do it for me, and if people like it, that's great. But it's really
So
for me.
is that an exercise you do before you start working on a piece, or?
If I'm if I'm feeling unmotivated, yeah. If I sometimes I have a plan, like I'm gonna do the wash on this piece, or I'm gonna add the detail to this piece. So if I have something I'm waiting to like work on, then I don't need to do the meditation. But if I'm just like dragging myself up here, like okay, let's just then I'll like cut things out or just make marks or lay down backgrounds, kind of trick yourself. It's kind of like how do you start working out? You trick yourself into doing it. Just start walking the stairs twice, you know? So anything to trick your brain into doing what's good for you, right?
Um, so what is a typical day in the studio like for you when you get to spend a day in the studio?
Yeah. It's usually clearing things out. I know a lot of people like clutter. Um, I like to have my desk kind of set up and ready to work. So I'll usually kind of clean up whatever I was working on and then refocus on whatever looks interesting at the time. So
Mhm.
um, it really depends on how much time I have. If I have a whole day, then I'm going to roll up some ink and print something because that takes hours. But if I don't have that much time, so then I'll just whip out some pens and do some detail work. So it really depends on how tired I am at the end of the day and how much time I have to spend up here. So I'm in like an attic
Oh,
office.
okay.
That's why I keep saying up here.
It's nice to have a home studio.
Amen. When we moved, that was a massive requirement. I was in a basement before, so I upgraded to the attic.
Okay. And it looks like you have some natural light, so.
Yeah, I have one window and nothing is blocking it so that I can get all the light I can from it.
Can you talk a little bit about the work behind you?
Sure. What do I have? This used to be my air conditioner. Now it's over there. This is a newer one that I just really like. It had came out with a lot of nice colors and details, and the pinks and blues I just can't get away from. They're my favorites. So that one's fairly new, and then this one, can you see this one by the light, is also fairly new. And the big guy with the blue. So they're all kind of just shapes and marks and dots and a lot of floral kind of motifs and bright colors because things are so depressing. I want to throw turquoise and pink at everything. Um, and then the cup series, those are two small pieces. It's kind of hard to see. There's more on my Instagram account, but I did 5 or 6 with the cups, and I'll probably return to that. I did a lot of research on different cups. There's a really interesting Jewish ritual with a cup with two handles to clean your hands. There's just a lot of really interesting. I have kind of a glassware obsession, and there's we think cups are such a simple thing, but really they're important and every day. And everyone has like their favorite cup or their favorite mug. The day the kids broke my favorite glass, there was hell to pay. It's a big deal.
Now the glass in that picture looks like the one you held up earlier. Is that?
Yes, this is my other favorite glass, the stemless. So yeah, we keep this on a high shelf away from the children. They can only use certain glasses, and I love to go thrifting and find beautiful crystal glassware. And yeah.
What's your favorite medium to work in?
Um, I would say I really like acrylic. I can't pick one. It's like which kid do you love the best, right? Like I acrylic has been like the one I've been using since I was a kid. I always kind of hold up in my room and paint. I really like paint pens and gel markers and watercolors. I like it all. I can't don't make me pick. Just not ceramics. I'm not very good at anything 3D. The backside's always a hideous mess. So 2D is kind of my jam.
Um, so I'm trying to ask this of everybody I'm talking to, is because I hear, especially because you teach, what advice do you have for people who are just getting into art? It might be a high schooler or even a junior high schooler watching us, or even somebody in their 20s that's trying to figure this out and trying to figure out how to follow their passion. Do you have
Yeah.
any thoughts about that?
I have a lot of thoughts about that. Actually, having graduated as an art major, I was discontented, to say the least, at the lack of preparedness and job prospects in the creative field. Um, so if I had known then what I knew now, um, I would say work it. You have to just it's exhausting because you have to constantly promote yourself, and that can be really hard. So if you want to do art as a career, God bless you. It's difficult. I see people do it. When I first started like saying getting back into art and wanting to be more of an artist, I would quiz people like, do you do art full time or do you have a day job? And almost everyone I talked to had a day job or was retired, which I found very interesting. So I was like, okay, I'll keep my day job and just do the art on the side. And when it becomes big enough and profitable enough, then it's your day job, right? It can't usually start as your day job. Um, and that's why I think web design and graphic design is a really good option. Landscape design or signage design, those creative fields that are more of a trade are a really good way to get paid for your creativity, but also have time to make for yourself. I tell my web design students that design is for other people and art is for yourself. So it's good to have kind of both of those because you learn all the skills in the paid craft, but then when you can do what your heart wants to do, you can also learn new things and use the things you learned in the other life.
So it's really compartmentalizing those two entities.
Yeah, or I like to meld them as much as I
Okay.
can. Like I use a lot of my own work in my website design if I can for like backgrounds or blog headers or stuff like that. And I don't need credit for it. I just want it out there and want to share it. And thankfully, I work at Sierra 2 Center, which is an awesome community center, and they're super supportive and love the arts and love to sponsor art stuff when we can. We're all closed up right now. So they've been really supportive of me, and it's been great.
Um, yeah, and I know especially when you're breaking in and you need to meet people in order to help advance your career as an artist, that's hard to do these days.
I don't know even how. I haven't seen any of my art buddies. With outside of openings and events, it's really hard. And with the rest of life going on, yeah, Instagram and Facebook, those are kind of good good options. And Open Studios is always my favorite event. So it's hit me really hard that we can't have it this year. So hopefully next year.
It looks like we're getting close to the end, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to let people know how they can get a hold of you, how they can see
Sure.
more of your art.
Yeah, I'm at tenaciousgoods.com is my website, and Tenacious Goods on all the social medias. And I'm out there. And if anything suits your fancy, just shoot me a message.
Okay. Well, great.
Cool.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so
It
much.
was great meeting you and
You
talking with
too.
you. You
Thanks.
have
That
a
was
good
fun.
evening.
You
Okay.
too.
Take
Okay.
care.